Welcome to Fed Renaissance. If you're a former federal employee trying to figure out what's next, start a new business, or looking to remake yourself, you're in the right place. There's no need to walk this road alone. So many former feds have already generated their own success, so why not learn from the paths they've already traveled? I'm your host and federal government alum, Brandon Cory. Fed Renaissance exists to help make you successful and to support your journey of personal and professional self-discovery. Former feds are a formidable force. Come join the movement. All right. Hey, folks. Welcome to the Fed Renaissance podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Cory. I'm with Connie Forbes today. Connie, welcome to the Fed Renaissance podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Hey, thanks so much for joining. Connie, you are the owner and floral designer of the Sweetest Pea Floral Designs, a small business that you founded in July 2020. I believe your website is sweetestpeafloral, all one word.com. Is that right?
That's correct.
So Sweetest Pea specializes in faux floral designs for weddings, for special events, and in order to meet a need identified by brides on a budget, her business actually started out with kind of a written return model, and that has proven to be a success. And prior to this, she had a life as a federal employee, working with
Yeah.
the Department of Justice as a management and program analyst.
Yeah.
You were doing that since 1996, working as a system change liaison, I believe, of the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
So eons ago, in a former life, I was a paramedic, and I know cops sometimes check the NCIC or the National Criminal, Information System, presumably somewhat related to that. Is that right?
Yes, it is. The NICS system queries several different systems to see if somebody has a criminal record, and NCIC is one of those systems. Yes.
There you go. All right. So if you've ever been pulled over and you're, hoping you don't have a warrant, and you're wondering what they're checking, there you go. That's part of it. But before that, even varied career, Connie, you were in the banking industry as well.
Yes.
Working as a trust administrator, commercial lending coordinator,
Mhm.
ATM administrator, and commercial teller, et cetera. So a very colorful background, no pun intended, because we're talking about flowers today. But again, welcome. We're really glad you're here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So we know a bit about who you are,
Mhm.
right? Just with the background, but what we don't know is why flowers? Just on the surface, banking, Department of Justice, information technology might not immediately seem like, oh yeah, and I would fully expect this person to go into the flower industry. Give us a flavor of that. How did that start to brew in your mind, and what took you to where you are now?
Well, I've always been a very creative person. All throughout my life, I've loved different art mediums. Like to paint, like to draw. So flowers was just something that I've always kind of fooled around with, and always made sure that I had something pretty on my front door. So when I was considering retirement, which I retired from the federal government in 2020, I started thinking probably about a year before I retired about what I would want to do with myself, because I need to keep busy. I'm that kind of a person. So in talking with some of my former coworkers, we talked about, I've had several friends that they had children that were getting married, and they talked about the flowers left over from the wedding, and, oh, what am I going to do with these? And they expressed the idea that, hey, well, it would have been nice if I could have just rented these flowers rather than buying them and being stuck with them, because you have a lot left over. And my daughter got married in 2018, and I repurposed her flowers into other things, even giving items to her so she would have them as kind of a keepsake. So in thinking about repurposing, I wondered, well, is there anybody out there that rents wedding flowers? So I started doing some research, and as an analyst, research was one of those things that you just did it a lot. You were constantly looking for ideas and looking for, things to manage and how to do it. So I did some research online and I found that it was an actual thing. So I thought, well, okay, maybe I could do that when I retire. And so I started actually before my retirement date. I started collecting, buying silk flowers of all different kinds. I would look for. Um, there were several businesses going out of business, and I thought, well, I'm just going to go buy what I can buy and get it at a discount and work with it. I actually started out in my garage. I
Good
lived in
place
a
to start.
townhome.
So many
Yeah,
places
I
to start
had
in their
had
garage, right?
yeah, I had room in my garage, and
Right.
when I was going to work in there, I'd pull my car out of the way, and on nice days, leave the door open, and have the air coming in. And on cold days, I'd close the door and turn the heater on. But I just that's where it began, just as an idea, and I thought, it was kind of unfortunate that it started out in 2020 during the pandemic. So I didn't have a lot of business. People were putting their weddings on hold.
Right.
So I did start out advertising, like I put myself out on Facebook Marketplace. Um, and my first customer was actually in New Hampshire.
Oh, interesting.
And
And you're based where geographically in the US?
well, I'm in West Virginia,
Okay.
which, is kind of, we're not in the South, we're not in the North, we're kind of in between.
Sure.
But I shipped to New Hampshire, and this bride, she rented some items, and I gave her a really good price because she was my first customer. So shipped them all the way to New Hampshire. She sent them back to me. Um, she sent me pictures of her wedding that she allowed me to use in my advertising. That's a big thing, is, send me pictures. And I really don't care if they're pictures you took with your iPhone.
Yeah.
Just something that I can use. So that's kind of where it started. And luckily I had former coworkers who trusted me with their weddings and got that business early on.
Right.
My first year, I only had 2 customers,
Okay.
but hey, it was 2 customers.
Right. So it was New
So,
Hampshire and then somebody
and then,
that you knew or somebody that you did
yes,
not know?
no, somebody else that I knew, of somebody that
Okay.
I had worked with. Um, and, um, I offered discounts so that people would, um, be happy with what they received, and it was economical, saved them money. I'm trying to save money for people because weddings are very expensive.
Yes.
And I'm still offering discounted prices. You know I could charge more, but I choose not to right now. At this point in my life, it is not a great source of income, but that's my choosing. I'm kind of more focused on delivering a service than I
Right.
am running a huge profitable business.
Right.
And being retired, I don't want to spend 40 hours a week working on florals if I don't want to. If I want to, then I absolutely do.
Yeah.
But if I have other things going on, then it's not usually a problem to walk away from it.
Right. Right. So it's interesting because listening to your story, and in other folks that we speak with, there is this initial stage of idea validation, right? It's
Yes,
hey, I'm kind of
absolutely.
yeah, like I'm kind of interested in this thing. Like you said, I like pretty things. I like putting flowers out, on my front porch, things like that. So there's an interest there, but not all interests are profitable. But then
Mhm.
it sounds like you're kind of already probing the network and folks are saying,
Yeah,
man, and it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, you only deal in synthetic flowers, artificial, not in real. Is that correct?
correct. Yes.
Right.
And that has limited my customer base because there are a lot of brides that want fresh flowers, and I totally understand that. but it's just not something that I have really the bandwidth to do right now. I don't have the space. Um, and actually, fresh flowers are very.
You had the idea, you saw that there was some validation of the need, and then you started buying supply really
Mhm.
as kind of your first steps. You didn't even have any jobs, but it sounds
No,
like you
I
got
did not.
okay, so you got a critical mass of supplies with your own funds at that point that you
Correct.
thought was enough to fulfill your first how many orders would you say?
Well, I bought a lot. I had more than enough to, create arrangements with for probably. I mean, I'm still working with some of those flowers.
Okay.
Um, so, and I mean, I learned a lot from, um, looking around locally is like, do I want to shop at Hobby Lobby? I found out quickly that I did not.
Okay. And why
And
was
that
that?
was just their prices.
Okay. All right.
Even on sale, their prices are still there's still a markup, which is understandable.
Right.
They're in business to make money. But I'm still learning. 5 years into this, still learning a lot. Still doing research. It's an ongoing thing. Um, I want to better my abilities and I want to better my business savvy, which, is I don't have a business degree.
Sure.
So it's something that I am learning as I go. But it's never boring really. It's pretty exciting. Especially for me when I see something come to fruition, I get that picture from that bride that just shows that, hey, I nailed it on the head.
Mm,
They loved what they had. They loved what they got. They loved their flowers. Their flowers made those pictures, it just made the wedding. So
that's
it's worth
great.
it to me. It's worth it to me when someone is happy with what they have received from me.
Absolutely.
So
And so you went from this initial stage of a couple customers in the first year, but now it sounds like things are kind of as bustling as you want it to
yeah,
be. What started what what would you attribute the growth? Did you advertise more? Was it word of mouth? Give us a
it,
little insight
it's
there.
it's a combination of things. It
Yeah.
is definitely social media helps.
Yeah.
Advertising, but I'm very choosy where I advertise. Um, Word of mouth has been amazing. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
people come to your wedding and, hey, where'd you get your flowers? Your flowers are amazing. Where'd you get them? Well, this little place called the Sweetest Pea.
Right.
So,
And you get
it,
points for a pretty cute name. I gotta say. There's a lot of cute
well,
points there.
there's a story behind that name.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah, there's a story.
All right.
So my daughter, who I'm very close with, I always called her the Sweetest Pea
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
when she was very small, and I was looking for a name for this business, and it just hit me,
Oh, wow.
the Sweetest Pea,
It
and
totally fits.
yeah, it was
Totally
crazy, and
fits.
some of my friends were like, "Why? Why are you naming it that?" And I said, "It can't be any other name. It
Yeah,
has to be
yeah.
that.
No, no,
It
you
has to
got it
be
right.
that."
Speaking of
Yeah,
nailing it on the head. Perfect.
yeah, and when
And
I told her, she said, "Are you naming it after me?" And I said, "Absolutely."
not your full legal name, but, um,
Yeah,
that
I
is
was the only
beautiful.
one that ever called her that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a nice tribute to her too. And then you said you're choosy on advertising. Tell
Mhm.
us more. Why is that? What's been more successful? All those things.
Well, I would rather have local business than I would, nationwide business. I mean, I ship, and I don't have a
Yeah,
problem with that at all, but I wanna get the local business, so, I target, like, West Virginia Weddings is a magazine that is a biannual publication, and they are a small company based here in Morgantown. and they've been great to me. I advertise with them. They run a contest yearly called the Best of West Virginia Weddings, and we have been nominated and have received that award for the best florist in West Virginia for the last 3 years.
Oh, wow. Nice job.
And when you win that contest, that opens up the door for advertising with them. So upon winning that contest, being nominated and receiving, the most votes, I go ahead and I advertise. I take up some of their magazine with my pictures,
Right.
and I've had business from that. And you definitely want to go. You want to advertise where you're going to get the business,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a very nice publication here. It's throughout the state. And when a customer says, "Hey, I saw you in the magazine, and that's the reason why I'm contacting you," and then they do give you some tools you can use for your social media
Right.
pages,
Okay.
to show that you are a winner of that contest.
Right. And what are you using on social media? Do you use all of the things, or again, are you pretty selective in which ones you use?
Right now I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I've not
Okay.
ventured into some of the other ones.
Hmm.
Those seem to get me Facebook
Okay.
more so than anything else.
Okay.
Gets me local business.
Gotcha. Mm.
So and that is there's a learning curve there too. You
Sure.
can't just and I'm still learning.
Right.
So you know you have to be diligent. You have to be um, willing to spend some time and learn what you need to know to make that successful. And you have to learn how to target your audience. And a long, long time ago, um, I was going to pursue a career in marketing,
Okay.
and I didn't because I became a wife and a mom and had a full-time job and just didn't pursue it. But that marketing is something that's very important for a small business, and it's
Absolutely.
very something that you do need to know.
Absolutely.
So, it's just kind of funny that I feel like I learn something every day about that marketing and what I should be doing.
What do you feel like on the social media aspect are kind of your top 3 lessons learned on what you need to do to make it a success?
Um, well, I've learned that you need to be consistent. It needs to be daily, sometimes more than once a day that you post something.
Okay.
You also need to be visible as far as your face. People want to see who you are, and they
Yeah.
want to know about you. They
Yeah.
want to know who is this person,
Mhm.
and can I identify with this person?
Right.
And I have found that there are a lot of people I can identify with on
Mhm.
there. And it's just good to know that there's a lot of other people out there that
Right.
are doing the same thing,
Sure.
and maybe they're a one-man show like me, and I am, other than my husband. He
Okay.
helps me a lot. But those are the two key things is
Right.
and you need to know your audience. You need to know what gets their attention,
Right.
and that's probably one of the hardest things that I struggle with.
Have you found
um
any clues there that you found that really get more eyes on your products and services?
I think it's all about timing, and with West Virginia, weddings there's a season, starts in April, goes until October.
Mhm.
So you have 6 months there where, you need to make sure that when you're in that season, you are capturing all of your work to use in a later promotion. Um, so right now in this downtime, I am resurrecting photos and creations that happened, you know, 4 or 5 months ago.
Sure.
Um, and you need to be repetitive with with your message that you're trying to sell to people.
Yeah. What is your message that you're trying to deliver consistently?
Um, that rentals are very budget friendly,
Okay.
and you can have that beautiful wedding for, a whole lot less than you thought it was going to be. Your flowers don't have to break the bank.
Right. And they don't all necessarily have to be real, you know?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And some people
Yeah.
will opt for, a mixture of both.
Right.
And
Right.
that's where I try to jump in there. It's like,
Right.
okay, well, you want some to be real, that's fine. Let me take over the rest of your arrangements and let me make
Absolutely.
it easy for you. And I'm very um one thing that my customers will tell you is that I am very I say the word
Communicative. Yeah, sure.
yes, there you go.
Uh-huh.
That word. I'm always reaching out here. Hey, here's a picture of your bouquet. Do you like this?
Right.
What do you want to change? Here's a video of your bouquet. Um, you know, Pictures and videos, constant feedback, tell me what you want and I'll give it to you. And and that's what people always say, it's great because you communicated throughout the whole process. You made it easy, and that's what people want. They want a stress-free wedding, and it's very hard to achieve that these days.
So you mentioned, you've got now some name recognition in West Virginia, in
Mhm.
some of these bridal magazines, things like that. Take us back though to those first two customers in 2020. I
Mm,
liken a starting a small business to kind of a snowball, right?
mhm.
You've got to get that little kernel that you can start drawing from. And so
Right.
how did you use those first two jobs? Did you get pictures of those? How did you
Mhm.
use those to start creating a bit of a name for yourself even back in 2020?
Well, so my first customer, she gave me a wonderful review, and she sent
Great.
me her professional pictures, which were amazing. They got married on the beach and had a beautiful sunset. Pictures were amazing.
Wow.
Her review was
And
amazing.
where did she review you?
Well, she just more or less just I believe she just sent me an email and just the review was in that, and I just took
Oh,
it.
okay.
And having some computer knowledge and being able to create um, slides with pictures and stuff in that, which I did a lot of that when I was working, for the bureau.
Sure.
I was able to take her pictures and create a really cool collage with her review in there
Right.
and post that. Reviews are everything when you're in a small business. And then I don't believe she followed my Facebook page, so what didn't show up on Facebook, but it was a post. I posted the information that I put together based on her pictures and her review. So
Mhm.
having that knowledge is very important. Um, if you are looking to market yourself, having some computer skills goes a long way. And I think for the most part people do, but they don't always. So when I was working for the government, and I had to have those presentation skills, had to have training skills. I trained. Was another thing that I did as part of being an analyst was I trained. If I identified that training was needed, I would have to bring people in and train them. So um, I had those skills that you need when you're trying to create um, some some type of media. um, you need to know how to do that. It's
Right.
important. So, I feel like my analyst career helped me so much in so many ways. It was great to have to learn a lot and then come away. Even though I'm retired, it's very important to me to have had that career and to know how to use those skills.
Right.
Um, so
It,
that stuff, like I'm saying, it's important.
it matters. And Connie, it's interesting. You and I didn't know each other before
No,
this
no.
podcast, right? I mean, probably thought
Mm-mm.
I was some weird guy hitting you up on the internet, maybe, but like, and I still might be a weird guy. Ask my family; they probably say yes. Um, but that said, like, but I remember a conversation where I think we're Facebook chatting even and
Hmm.
saying, hey Connie, like I'd love to have you on because I see you have your own business. And I'm also part of this podcast is trying to get into the minds and the hearts of folks that have lost their government jobs or
Hmm.
they voluntarily
Right.
left government service. And part of the discussion I had with you is you're actually doing it. And there are other folks out there that may want to do it. And they might be thinking, hey, I'm a management and program analyst too.
Hmm.
And my dream is to start a business with gourmet ice cream. And they're totally different things. There's no way I can do that. They're
Hmm.
two totally different things, but you're proof that that can happen. What would you say to that person who is doubting themselves about going in that direction?
I would, if you have ability that you maybe it's completely different from what you did when you worked at the federal government, but you have a talent that you love, you know, why not put that to work for you? Um, Doing something that you love. I've always loved flowers. I grow them. I you know love to receive them. But I also love to create beautiful things with them. And um, it may not sound like it is anything exciting, um, but to me, it's exciting. To me,
Right.
it is even though what I'm doing, it could be stressful, to me, when I'm sitting here creating like the arrangement behind me, it's an excitement level that I can't really convey to
Yeah.
you. And because I'm passionate about it, I'm working with my passion project, I suppose.
Right.
So yeah, if you're, like, okay, so maybe you're a baker, maybe you bake really good bread.
Right.
It doesn't take a lot of capital to start a business with something like that.
Hmm.
Um, do your research in your area as to, is anybody doing this? And maybe they are, but maybe you have an edge. Maybe you can do something that they're not doing.
Right.
Look at what they're doing. Go visit them. Um,
And what I
I'm
hear
not.
you saying too is that the passion itself matters.
Mhm.
If
Oh
if you
yeah,
if you
definitely.
love it, then that's going to be a much different result than somebody who's just trying to earn a buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's your passion, why not pursue it into making it your business?
Right.
And, work toward um, doing what you love and making other people happy in the process.
Yeah.
So what maybe you started in your garage, maybe you started in your kitchen. That's okay. There is nothing wrong with that.
I
Nothing.
think Apple started in Steve Jobs' garage, right? I mean, stuff like that.
Right.
So
And,
sure.
you
Yeah.
know, so yes, I work here in my home, and I have actually customers. I will have them in for consultations here in my home. I have a space dedicated to that. It's a spare bedroom,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
it doesn't
But hey,
matter. It doesn't matter.
you get points for one of the best backgrounds we've had. I mean, I gotta
That's
say.
great.
So you've now moved from the garage to a dedicated,
Hmm.
really business office in the house.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. And, we recently bought a new home. It's been a year ago that we bought a new
Congrats. Yeah.
home. And we looked for a home that would give us a little more space for my business, and my husband, he has a small business himself.
Okay.
So for the two of us, we looked for something that would work for those businesses. And if we decide no longer in business. It's a bedroom again.
Right.
It's
Right.
not difficult.
Nothing lost.
So, but yeah, started in my garage. I've kind of have evolved since then. Had a workbench on the back wall of my garage, um, and had buckets of flowers on both sides of where I parked my car.
Okay. That's better
It
than
just
like rakes and stuff, I guess, scratching your car door. I don't know.
yeah, but I mean, I look for ideas online how to set it up, how to
Yeah.
store it, you know, what was the best way to do it, and
Sure.
I don't have anything fancy. I
Yeah.
really don't.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
have a
love that you're trying to make it easy for the budget minded. I mean,
oh
these
yeah.
days when everything is skyrocketing in price,
Hmm.
a question though for you too, and we're starting to allude to it just in, tapping into your passions. What what would you say about personality? What was in your personality that you think has been an essential ingredient in making the business a success? Um, could anybody do this, or are there personality traits, characteristics that are pretty important to recognize in oneself before venturing out?
Well, you definitely need to be able to work with people, because when some people heard that this is what I was doing, they were like, "Are you crazy? Brides are the hardest people to work with,"
Mm,
and yeah, that might be true, but I usually tell them that I'm not going to try to sell you something that I wouldn't want myself. I'm not going to make you carry a bouquet that I wouldn't carry. So I kind of put myself in their shoes,
sure.
and that's important, I think, to be able to do that. But have I guess I'm a pretty empathetic person, and I want people to be happy. I like to please people, and this is one of the ways that I do that. It's kind of one of my love languages is to please people in this way. But yeah, I think you really have to look at who you're targeting, who's your audience, who are your clientele, and what do you want for them?
Right, right.
What do you want for them? I understand that you're trying to run a business and you're trying to make money doing that, and that's a bottom line, obviously.
Yeah,
But if your customers aren't happy, then it's not going to follow through.
it's not sustainable.
So
Sure.
yeah, you have to look at your customers and you have to be willing to make them happy, and
Hmm.
just to me, it's not hard.
Right.
It's not a hard. It's not a hard thing
Yeah.
at all. I don't find it to be hard. And
Yeah.
people are like, "You're amazing. How did you do that?" And I'm just
Mm,
like, "I don't know. I just did it. I
that's
don't know."
great. Then you're in your element, your niche, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah. So I think definitely you just got to look at your customer base, and what do you want to achieve? What do you want to do for them so
Hmm.
that it
Hmm.
it comes back and benefits you?
It's honestly encouraging, though, to hear that you had the doubters, the naysayers,
Oh yeah,
because it's gonna happen.
yeah.
And, um, moving then from these early days of, say, 1 or 2 customers in 2020, sorta early growth days,
Hmm.
were you just on just advertising or just had a web presence on, say, Facebook and Instagram, or did you set
Hmm.
up your own website? Tell us more about that on
Well,
how you
I
created sort of storefront.
yeah. Well, so my website, actually, my first website I created myself.
Okay.
Um, and I'm not a web designer. I'm
Mhm.
not. I'm far from that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I created it myself. And there's a lot of different programs out there that you can use that it's just a walkthrough process. Um, my husband actually used to be an IT director,
Okay.
and he has a lot of knowledge about those kinds of things. And actually, I've only been married since 2022.
Okay.
So he has, since we got together, he created a new website for me.
Oh, nice.
But
So the message
even
is marry an IT director.
that helps. But even before we were married, my website that I had was just fine.
Yeah.
So yes, there are a lot of websites out there that you can, or not websites, but um, tools for you to use that will help you create your own website.
Right.
But the first thing I had to do was obtain a business license through the state. And
Right.
not all states require that,
Okay.
but I wanted to be legit. And that is something that brides look for.
Right.
They look for vendors who are legitimate vendors because they don't want to be scammed.
Right.
So that's important, is to find out within your state, do you have to have a business license,
Yeah.
which in West Virginia you do. So
Okay.
I got my business license and got my business name secured,
Okay.
to make sure that it was not going to be, it wasn't already taken by somebody in the state.
Sure.
Now I'm a sole proprietor, so
That's where I was
there's
going. So sole
yeah.
proprietor, not
So,
an
so
LLC.
there's
Okay.
no, I'm not. I mean, I could
Good.
be. I
Yeah.
could, it's more costly to be
Mhm.
an LLC.
Mhm.
And it is probably a better way to go. I just haven't ventured there yet.
Okay.
I may eventually,
Mhm.
but as a sole proprietor, it's pretty simple. It's very simple. Um, so, once you get your business license, and if you are going to create a website, because I obviously don't have a storefront that someone
Mhm.
can visit, which I never intended to.
Okay.
I've had that thought about doing that, but then I'm like, do I want to tie myself down like that?
Mm.
And that would require, somebody to be there. And if it's not me, I got to pay someone to do that.
Right.
So, it's just, and I explain that to my customers, when I talk to them and they want to come in for a consultation, I explain to them, hey, you're coming to my home. If you're okay with that. If not, then, I'll meet you somewhere.
So you said
I'm
you got order of operations kind of you got established as a business as a sole proprietorship. You set up a website. Now the first, do you recall the first before your husband was involved, what the first product or products you were using to design your website were?
Well, I used Wix in the beginning.
Okay. Yeah.
We're using something different now.
Fair enough. Okay.
I'm not going to promote Wix over any other
Sure.
tool that's
Yeah.
out there. There are other
Right.
tools
Right.
out there that may be easier than
Right.
that, but I mean, I had some help from a family member as far as advising me how to do the things I wanted to do.
Right.
But and another thing that I did do early on was, my daughter-in-law, she fancies herself a photographer, and she's
Okay.
pretty good at it.
Okay.
um, we had a friend who was into modeling, and I bought her a cheap wedding gown
Mhm.
for $100,
Mhm.
and I created about, I want to know, maybe 6 or 8 different bridal bouquets, and we went to some scenic places, and we took some pictures of her with my bouquets, and we used that for advertising.
Oh, nice.
So it cost me a total of, for her, I paid her $100, um, $200 wedding gown, payment to the model, and
Yeah.
then whatever materials I had in the bouquets. And that's what I started with as far as my on my website,
That's
to
great.
show. Yeah. So you don't have to have a lot of money to get
Or
started.
technical
And
expertise too, and that's why I wanted to just bring up
right.
the again, not promoting any specific platform, but for folks that are out there who are like, "I'm not a web designer," like, it
You
doesn't
don't have to
matter.
be.
These
No, it
days, you
doesn't
have
matter.
tools that just guide you through it, so, yeah.
No, I mean, I had a basic knowledge, but
Right, right.
I didn't, I couldn't code anything.
Yeah,
No, I'm
and
not able to do
I
that.
love that you're tapping relationships that you already have for, like,
Hmm.
a very modest, and probably beautiful. Do you still use those pictures?
I do.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
So
Yeah,
photo
they're
shoot for, like,
beautiful.
a couple $100, I mean, hey, what's
Hmm.
not to like there, right?
Yeah, yeah. So you have to get creative with getting your business started, and it doesn't mean, like, you have to know how to create the flowers behind me, but getting
Exactly.
creative with resources that are out there,
Right.
there's a lot of resources out there for the small business person.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just have to spend some time and look for them.
Right.
Um, and so we that was where we started. We got the website up, um, tested it out to see if somebody could order from it
Okay.
and it would accept payments and all those things. Test it out.
Okay.
It's important. It's very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I learned that in my IT career that testing is important.
Oh my goodness. It sure is.
So did all that, and then I focused on creating flower arrangements
Mm-hmm.
so that I would have product that I could, maybe honestly, most of those things I created early on, they were more or less models
Okay.
for what I could do.
So kind of you're sending out your supplies or folks are picking them up locally, which is great. So it's something you're not even expending or something that's not getting used up. And then once that comes back to you, what do you do with it? You're using it again, presumably for other engagements?
Yes. So this past year, had several weddings that were similar colors, and even had an event. And it's important to mention that I do events too. So like I just did a Boy Scout banquet,
Oh, interesting.
where I
Okay.
did all the centerpieces for that one. But
Yeah.
anyways, so the girl that had the wedding with all white flowers, you know, those are going to get repurposed into someone else's wedding that I need white flowers for. A lot of the time I will, if it's arrangements that I can tell they're going to be very popular, I'll hold on to them. I won't break them down right
Okay.
away. And I have sold a lot of those on Marketplace.
Interesting. Okay.
So that helps reduce some of my inventory. Um,
Right.
and then, a lot of times I'll just take things apart. I keep everything organized by color, and, I'll just put them back in their color bins, and they're there for the next use.
Right. And we
Um,
didn't even touch on this when we started. We started to when you're kind of going down the Hobby Lobby route, but
mhm.
folks sometimes don't even know how to go wholesale instead of retail. So how are you now even sourcing your own supplies?
Um, there are a lot of wholesalers out there. You have to, and it's taken me a very long time. It's taken me the past 5 years to
Okay.
find some that are provide uh, good quality items at prices that I can afford.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that I'm not constantly looking at other places. So I mentioned Hobby Lobby earlier. I mean, it doesn't mean I don't buy from them,
Yeah.
but I'm very specific in what I buy. Like if I'm working on something and I need a purple flower and I just don't quite have it,
Mm,
I'm not going to go to a wholesaler and buy 100 of them.
right.
I'm gonna just, shop locally, at my local craft store and, get what I need. I mean, that can drive your price up.
Sure.
But, it's kind of the nature of the game is you don't always have what you need. And that's, I would say, probably more common in the business that I am in
Mhm.
rather than somebody who's baking. They know basically what they would need.
Right.
But I don't always. I'm creating something like the bouquet behind me.
Mhm.
Um, those were very specific flowers that somebody wanted, and actually, that is a wedding I have booked for the next year.
Nice.
This was my attempt at, let me see if I can create what you're looking for.
Mhm.
And I bought a few stems of each flower that she presented to me and her idea and said, okay, this is what I can do. Is
Okay.
this what you're looking for?
Okay.
And it was.
Great.
So,
Okay.
that, and it's a big wedding that I did book.
Yeah.
based
Yeah.
on the fact that I could secure the flowers she wanted and I could create what she was looking for. So
Sure.
it is a little bit of trial and error,
Right. Right.
and but don't be afraid of trial and error.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, everybody's gonna have places where they stumble, and
Mhm.
that's
Right,
part of the journey for sure, and
right.
not something to be afraid of. It's something to
No,
expect
no.
actually,
So
so it's less daunting.
so if
Yeah.
baking is your jam, you want to get in, have a
Mm.
bakery,
Yeah.
get your friends to help you out. I'm sure they'll be willing to try your products.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, I'll help. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. It has been a lot of trial and error, yes.
Yeah.
Um, but you have to be willing to take your lumps along the way, and
Right.
not al- and know that you won't always be perfect. You won't be.
Well,
But
tell us this. I mean, you had this sort of skepticism and, brides being difficult to work with or whatever, without mentioning names or anything, obviously. But have you had to deal with, any unhappy customers? How has that been for you as an experience
it's been
in
very,
navigating that?
very few, very
That's
few.
great. Yeah.
Um, and when someone is unhappy, I'm more than willing to correct whatever it is that they don't like. But
Yeah.
I've not had anybody that has asked me to do that.
Yeah.
Um, so, and I believe it's because I communicate so well with people,
Mm,
and
mm,
I try to keep them. I keep them involved in every arrangement that I'm making,
yeah.
and make sure that they are happy with it. And and for local people, they even come in while I'm working on stuff to see it in person,
Great.
just to make sure that it is what they want. And
Right.
I do offer that. I just like I said, that's my love language. I want to make people happy. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and I understand it's not always possible. You're not always going to make 100% of your customers happy, but you do your darn best,
Absolutely.
because that's the name of the game. and
So in
and it,
order
it
to,
has paid
yeah.
off for me, because
Yeah.
business is just last year. Business was amazing.
That's
you
so
know
great.
it was
So great.
3 and 4 weddings and events a month from
Oh my goodness.
April until November.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
November finally arrived, I was very happy to get the break.
And the amazing thing too, I mean, you have the clearly the blessing that you're already retired, but there are some folks who are like, I'm not really retired. I need business to be hopping,
Yeah.
and noting that you can be at this point 5 years into it as opposed to 20 years into it
Mhm.
is also really encouraging.
Yeah, and I feel like I could definitely grow this business, and it could be much bigger
Hmm.
if I wanted to bring in staff. I wanted to hire some more designers,
Right.
and have more space. But
Yeah.
that's just not where I'm at right now in
Sure.
my life, and it's not what I'm looking to do, but it's very possible.
Right.
I
Right.
see that. I see that with other businesses,
Yeah.
So,
No, it's
you know,
great just knowing that the potential is there, right? It's not something
yes.
that it's not a self-limiting, well, no, it is a self-limiting factor, but you're not being limited really by external circumstances. And frankly, if you were gonna be limited, COVID was the time, and you
Yeah.
survived launching in the midst of COVID,
Mhm.
which is also a testament to this being viable. So, um, again, kind of step by step, you got the website up. Now, do they order through your website? Do they book you through the website? Or is that just a shingle to say, "Hey, we're here, but pick up the phone and call us"?
Yeah, it's a shingle. For me,
Okay.
it could be, the other way. I don't have it set up for that.
Yeah.
But I just want the presence online,
Okay.
and to have a place for people to go to, to see some of my products.
Mhm.
They don't order online, but
Okay.
and most of the time they don't order online because weddings are so specific, and
Right.
brides are so specific on what they want. It's hard to
Mm.
capture that on a website that I have. Now, if I had packages of, say, okay, here's an all white um, wedding package.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely set that up so that they could order the package online and it would be the same package.
Right.
Rentals come back, I refurbish them, I fluff them back up again. If
Okay.
I don't break them down, if I wanted to keep them in my inventory to be re-rented again, I would make sure that they're perfect and ready to go out the door again. But
Sure.
I haven't done that yet. I feel like that is
Right.
something that I will do.
Okay.
But I'm not there yet.
So what they're really seeing then are examples of work that you have done that might be similar to what they might like, but recognizing that they're going to have their own unique, you know,
Yeah. Well, and I
desires.
found everyone wants a custom design.
Yeah.
Everybody does, and it's rare that you find somebody that says, "Oh yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take it the way that it is. I
Hmm.
don't care that someone else had it." And
Yeah.
that's
It's
the
like
stuff I
wearing
said.
somebody else's wedding dress. It seems like it's a pretty rare thing, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But,
Yeah.
that's why I do sell some things on Marketplace.
Right.
Um, you know, because I can see that it's something that probably has a lot of
Okay.
life left in it. And
Yeah.
I'll give you a funny story.
Yeah.
So,
Love it.
a couple of years ago, I created um, a large wedding package, bridal bouquet, a few other things that went with that, and sold that to a customer who lives in the southern part of West Virginia. And actually, I was traveling through there several weeks before her wedding and had met up with her to give her stuff. Well, after her wedding, she sold her stuff.
Hmm.
And the person that bought her stuff contacted me and said, I bought these arrangements. Can you make more?
Oh, and now wasn't she supposed to return her stuff to you though?
She purchased
Oh,
everything.
she purchased it outright.
Yeah,
I gotcha. Okay.
she
Okay.
didn't rent.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
she purchased everything.
Okay.
So she
Uh-huh.
just sold it.
Okay.
And the person that bought it contacted me and said, "Can you make more?"
Okay.
And I was like, "Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure." So, you like stories like that. I mean,
Absolutely.
you like it that people are so happy with their stuff that they
Right.
reach out for more. And you know
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
and then
So
I
you're
had recently
mm,
another story. I
mhm.
had a large arrangement that I had sold on Marketplace. um, when the girl picked it up from me, she loved it so much she said, "I'm getting married next year, can you make more?" And I said,
Wow.
"Absolutely, absolutely."
That
So
is great.
yeah,
That is great.
you like it
Now
when people
you're
are
and
happy.
yeah, and then you're seeing more evidence of demand and that you're on the right track and that,
Hmm.
um, there's a market for it, which is great. Um I'm trying to in my own mind, right? I'm also trying to put myself in the minds of our audience and coming up with objections. All the
Hmm.
reasons I can't do what Connie did, right? And but that's also a healthy process to go through. Like, can I do
Sure.
this? Can it right? And so breaking down these things. So not that hard to set up a website, not that hard to do things on a budget. You got a model and a great photo shoot on a shoestring. You worked your network, setting up social media presence, using, photos of previous jobs. All that's very, very doable. But money, oh my gosh, money,
Yeah.
taxes, all that stuff. How did you and how do you accept payment? Has that been complicated? Has it been easy? Tell us more about that.
It hasn't been complicated. I use the application I use to accept payment is called Square, and I'm sure that people have heard of that. And they do charge a fee, but I've not found any other software out there that doesn't charge a fee for accepting payments for you. So that fee is passed on to the customer. Initially, I did not, but I felt like it was in my benefit to, do that. And when I'm questioned about it, I explain it, just be honest with them. This is, the credit card processing system that I use, this is their fee. So, if if they don't want to pay that fee, then it's pay with cash. And
Right.
a lot of people opt for that because they don't want to pay that fee, and that's fine. That's
Sure.
absolutely
Either
fine.
way, you're still getting paid. Right.
That cash goes in the bank, So yeah, there are different processing systems out there, and if you create your website, you can make those connections easily. I didn't have a problem initially. I was accepting payments initially on my first website. Whatever processing system you use will allow you to set up your taxes, and they will withhold that. There will be reports you can run to tell you how much your taxes need to be, how much you need to pay quarterly.
Okay. So is Square doing that
Mm-hmm.
piece? It is.
Yes.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
And that doesn't cost. I have the version of Square that is free.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you a lot of tools.
Yeah.
You don't even have to pay for that,
Wow. Okay.
other than the fee that you're going to pass on to your customer.
Right.
So that's another good thing to know, is that some of these processing systems are free,
Mm.
other than their fees for bringing in money. So look for that. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to cost you anything.
Right. Right. And so
So
I'm in Virginia, so I'm to the east of you,
mhm.
obviously, but not truly local. Um, if I wanted to pay you, how would I use Square to do that?
So Square offers the ability to create invoices within their
Mm-hmm.
system, quotes and invoices, because quotes in the wedding business are very important. A lot of brides are going to be going to several different vendors. I'm going to go to maybe 3 different florists and see, who's the cheapest.
Right.
So you have the ability to go in and create a quote, convert that quote to an invoice. Those are sent out by email to your
Okay.
customers.
Okay.
They have links within their emails to
Mm-hmm.
make their payments. Um, you can set up either a percentage amount that they pay, or you can set up a dollar amount that you want them to pay with weddings. I require 50% down.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But their system's great.
Okay.
It's easy
Okay.
to use. You go out there, you plug in your customer's information, and you create your quote. You
Right.
can do it on
Right.
your phone.
That's amazing. So it just goes out by email. They click the link. They use and they can, and then within that link, if they want to pay that 50% down by credit card, they can do
Mm-hmm.
that just using that
Yes.
link in their email.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
the other thing is that Square gives you the ability to save their information. A lot of brides will send me pictures of what their vision is. I can save those pictures right to that Square account that I've
Oh,
created for
interesting.
them.
Okay.
I
Okay.
also create rental contracts, purchase agreements within Square. They
Okay.
have templates that they will allow you to use to create
Mm-hmm.
those things. If you're creating a contract, I would advise you get legal advice on that.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
But I do have rental contracts for everything that I rent.
Yeah. And did you get brick and mortar face to face attorney on those contracts, or did you kind of do that online?
I just did that online. Yeah.
Okay. Was that Legal Zoom is the one I'm familiar with? Was it that,
Yes.
or do you happen to
Hmm.
know? Okay.
Yeah.
So Legal Zoom for the contract. That makes sense. So Connie, businesses can measure success in a bunch of different ways. Bottom line, profit, likes, follows, that kind of stuff, customer satisfaction. How are you measuring that for Sweetest Pea?
Well, I think obviously most people would measure it based on their bottom line. Did they make any money?
Mm,
Yeah, and that's I mean that's the reason you're in business. I'd say most people, yes. Um, that is important to me, but it's not my main factor in measuring that success. I want to make sure that my customers are happy, um, that I feel like in my mind, I have provided a service that was beneficial to them. And did I keep busy and am I doing something that I enjoy?
Sure. Sure.
And I have to say yes to all those things. I have definitely achieved all success in all of those things.
All right, Connie, as we begin to wrap up here, we're talking about mistakes are part of the ball game. Everybody does them. And sometimes we just get it right. We're like, I'm going to do that again. So what's something you feel like, I skinned my knee. That was a tough lesson to learn, but I learned it. And then what's something you're like, I got this right. I'm proud of myself. And yeah, tell us more.
So I would say my biggest skin on my knees has been monitoring emails coming in, because um, I will get people that find my website will email me, and sometimes things go to spam.
Okay.
And that's just so simple. You hate that it happens, but it happens. And I'll give you a really good example. Recently, I had somebody contact me back in September, and their wedding was in November, which, that's kind of like last minute.
Yeah.
And I really could not have fulfilled her order in the time that she gave me, because I was very busy with other weddings, but her request went to spam. And I did not see it until mid-November, and her wedding had already happened. And I felt horrible, that I missed that, but it really wasn't my fault. I mean, I guess it was in
Sometimes
that
you
I
don't know
didn't
what
check
you
my,
don't know, though. But yeah.
yeah, I wasn't checking my spam. I shouldn't have to check my spam, but yeah, you need to make sure that you do.
Right.
I mean, I kind of feel foolish admitting that happened, but that's happened a couple of times.
Okay.
So monitoring email is something that I'm continuously looking at my email.
Mhm.
Um,
And spam now, probably.
yeah, yes,
Okay.
yeah, daily.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you just want to make sure that any channel that you have where customers could contact you, that you're always monitoring that.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
so that's been the big one. And what was the
And
other
where did you
example?
nail it? Where did you get it right?
Um, I did a wedding this past summer in August, and the bride wanted a full arch, and arches are very popular right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some research on could I buy these flowers already made, these arrangements already made. I found a wholesaler that I ordered a base arrangement that fit on an arch. And I ordered it so that I could add to it if I wanted to.
Okay.
So based on her pictures of what she wanted, I nailed it.
Mm.
I mean, it turned out beautiful. I mean, now granted, I did use flowers that were already made. The arrangements were made. I added to them,
Mhm.
and I came up with exactly what she wanted. And
Right.
it was just the pictures for marketing were just fabulous. Um, for the amount of money I spent on product, it's already been paid for twice.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So it was a definite win.
Mm.
And I follow a lot of Facebook groups about florals. And when people talk about, when they ask a question, what do you recommend? What does anybody recommend for this? I'm like, this is what I recommend. Buy yourself a good product that is your base that you can add to.
Mm.
And you could never go wrong with that for $300,
Yeah.
um, and you're charging $300 to rent it.
Right.
It's paid for first
Right.
time it's used.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a huge success this past year. And I I learned from that, and I hope to expand on it.
So you had happy customer,
Hmm.
good marketing for your business, and good lessons learned in terms of probably reducing overhead and being able to even be more profitable, I would imagine.
Right, right.
So final question here, which is really kind of around the idea of mentorship, and this can go a couple ways, however you want to take it. I mean, a lot of folks have had folks give them very good advice that was instrumental in them starting their business, or uh, they may have advice to pass on. So if
Hmm.
somebody's listening to this, saying, "Hey, I want to be like Connie someday," what's a piece of advice that you've received that's really helped, or that you feel like you've learned that you want to pass on to somebody who may just be starting out on this journey?
I would say that if you're wanting to start this journey, do as much research as you can. You know, the internet has a lot of information out there, some good, some bad, but for the most part, it helped me with starting this business. You know, go out and do your research on is there a market for this? Do people want this? Um, for the businesses that are doing this, how well are they doing? You know, don't be afraid to put yourself out there
Yeah.
and show people who you really are. Don't be afraid to show your face.
Hmm.
Show your face. People want to see you're just a normal person that, you know, is out there trying to, you know, you're trying to get through life just like everyone else is, and you're just, you're trying to survive.
Yeah.
And
Often.
don't be afraid of that.
uh,
That's what I would say. Don't be afraid of that. We all have our quirks, and we all have talent
yes.
in one thing or another. I feel like God has put us on this earth for a reason, and there are certain talents that everyone possesses, and don't be afraid
Mm,
to show the world what you can do.
amen. No, that's good stuff. And the authenticity matters too.
Hmm.
It's not gonna be perfect, and people just want to know you're just human.
Yeah, exactly. And I think people need to know that more than ever these days.
Oh,
That
goodness, yes.
you're just human, and you have good days, you have bad days, just like everyone else. And I feel like people need to know that.
In
It definitely bringing the human element into it is very important.
in the era of artificial intelligence and fake
Exactly.
everything, the fact that Connie cares about my wedding and I can meet with her, or, have her design my floral arrangement, that's priceless, really. I
Hmm.
mean, it can't be replicated.
Well, yeah, it cannot be replicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't. And AI is great for some things, and I have used it,
Yeah.
but it will never replace the human.
Tell us quickly, I mean, while we're on it, how have I didn't expect to ask this particular question on this interview, but how have you used AI?
Well, AI is great at you can send it a picture and say, create a bride in standing in an English garden holding this bouquet. And then you can take that picture and you can use that for advertising purposes. You got to give AI credit,
Yeah,
which I feel like is important to do,
yeah.
because you don't want people thinking, oh, well, she can do a big garden like that. No, I can't do
Right,
that.
right.
AI did that.
Sure.
But
Any
yeah,
specific
it's
AI that you're using to query?
well, I've used Chat GPT, and I've used Gemini,
Okay,
which is a Google product. I like
right.
Gemini better.
Interesting. Why is that?
I just have found that it's very good at at following direction.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
So yeah, it
Interesting.
and AI is also really good at giving you like sample contracts and
Right.
sample verbiage for advertising. So yes, use that to your advantage too.
Absolutely. Yeah, and especially for documentation, legalese, things like that. It doesn't replace a legit attorney, obviously, but there's so much work it can take off your plate in a short amount of time. Well, Connie, I can't thank you enough. Connie Forbes from Sweetest Pea Floral Design. Connie, this is also your opportunity. Where can folks find you on the web, on social media, all that good stuff? Why don't you close us out with telling them all that good stuff?
Okay, well, obviously I am on social media, Facebook, Instagram, the Sweetest Pea Floral Designs. I'm located in Morgantown, West Virginia. Um, it is the home of the Mountaineers.
All right.
Let's go Mountaineers. So I'm also, my website is sweetestpeafloraldesigns.com. Those are the best places to find me. My contact information is out there on all of those pages. I do respond to text messages from strangers.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
So, the phone number that's out there is my personal cell.
And that's accessible on the website then at
Yes, it is.
sweetestpeafloral.com. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that's social media is the best way. I mean, my business page will send me a message if you contact me on Messenger, I will receive it right away and I will respond.
I think that might be how I contacted you, as a matter of fact. And,
yeah, I believe so.
And
yeah.
so I will say, ladies and gentlemen, Connie was very responsive on Facebook Messenger. So that is awesome. So
yeah, I feel like that's another important piece of being in business is responding to your customers in a very timely manner. Very, very important.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, which I understand why the spam thing would have given you angst because you want to be responsive.
Yes.
And that gets in the way of that. But again, another lesson learned on how to be responsive. Well, Connie, I can't thank you enough for your time today. This has been incredibly enlightening. I hope it has been for others as well. Look forward to being in touch, and we wish you the very best with Sweetest Pea Floral.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. All right. Have a good one. We'll be in touch.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
You too.
All right.